Hello, everyone. This is clicker training.
Yes. All right, Ken, I just made it so you're unmuted, and I'm going to add the spotlight. Hello, Ken. Welcome.
Hi, how are you? Thanks for the invitation. Hey, can you do me a favor and
Sure.
give me permission to share my screen so that I can show some of my slides and stuff?
Yes. Let me do that. I'm going to make you the host, okay? Which
Or
should
co-host, yeah.
mean you have his permission to do that. But then you'll have to unmute me if I need to talk, okay? Because there's only
All
one
right.
host privilege. So I'm going to do that, and let me know if you're able to then.
All right. I will look for that to happen. Yes, I am now
Okay,
officially the
wonderful.
host.
Well, so
Good.
I'll kick it off, Ken. Thank
Okay.
you everyone so much for being here. I'm going to jump off shortly, but we'll keep sharing if you have questions in the chat. But we're so excited to have Ken here from clickertraining.com. Amazing URL, by the way. So because Travel Cat is all about, helping train your cat to use the backpack and use the harness, we thought obviously we actually just launched about a week ago. We now sell our own clicker sets, so you can buy clicker sets from Your Cat Backpack, and I'll share the link. But we think clicker training is a really great way to get your cat used to harness and leash training, and there's a bunch of other benefits that Ken is going to go over. I'll kick it off to you, Ken, if you talk about the benefits of clicker training, that it's not just for dogs, that you can do it for cats. And we're also excited because we are going to share a special discount to clickertraining.com if you want to take their course for cat clicker training as well. So with that, Ken, take it away.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate the invitation. I'm glad all of you are here. The amount of time that I have is rather small and short, so I want to make sure and get right to it. I'm going to share my screen with everybody and go into this talk a little bit about clicker training. I'm glad Emily mentioned that they have clickers that are available, but you may be not sure how to use them. So that's what I want to talk about today, and particularly about how you can get your cat more comfortable in a backpack and a carrier and other items. And so let me go ahead and get started here and give you an overview of what I'm going to talk about today. While I'm sharing my PowerPoint, I'm not able to see the chat window, but I'm hoping to wrap up early so that I can make sure that that I answer questions. I also realize that now that I'm the host, I need to admit people as they are trying to get in. So a couple things that I'm going to be talking about is trying to review a few of the highlights of clicker training in less than 30 minutes. I also going to talk a little bit about what is clicker training in case you're not familiar with it. I'm going to talk about how it benefits our cats. I'll also talk about the myth of the untrainable cat. There are always people who just don't believe that cats are trainable. And I'll talk a little bit about getting started and how building a relationship can be very beneficial to you when you're training. I'm going to talk about targeting because I think it's a unique tool to aid in training, and it can very easily help you get comfortable, get your cat comfortable going into a kennel or into a carrier of some kind. And finally, I will talk about how to do that and talk about some of the other possibilities that are really endless when it comes to do as a trainer with your cat. I am letting people into this room, so that's why I'm delayed here. First of all, who am I? What do I know about cat training? How can I help you? I am the Chief Training Officer for Karen Pryor Clicker Training. And as Emily mentioned, we do have a Train Your Cat course that we're going to be offering you a discount to if you'd like. I've trained cats for a very long time. I first started training cats well over 40 years ago. My training includes training cats for film and commercials, which of course is maybe more complex than most of you are interested in. I also have done a lot of work in the zoo community and worked with big cats like tigers and panthers and lions, etc. But today I'm going to talk about the domestic cat. I am a full-time specialist. I'm a training consultant, and As I said, we are offering a 10% discount on our Train Your Cat course. If you'd like to get that discount when you register, use the discount code TravelCat10. That's TravelCat10, and that will get you a 10% discount. So in that course, we talk about lots of things. I'm just going to give you a brief overview to training. So what is training? I think there are a lot of misconceptions about clicker training. First of all, it's not, the magic is not in the clicker. That's what I'd like to explain more than anything else. In essence, a clicker really is just a toy noisemaker. However, they do help us communicate more clearly to our cats. And oftentimes when we refer to clicker training, it really simply refers to marker-based positive reinforcement training. The clicker is a marker indicating to your cat, well done. What you just did was perfect. And any sound, any word can be used to mark behavior. Some people like to use a mouth click where they just go, like, I can't do it, but they do a click with their mouth. Some people like to use a word good. Those are all called clicker training because you're using a marker to tell your animal when they've done well. But the key to success with any kind of training is the use of positive reinforcement. That's really what we're talking about when we talk about clicker training. What are the benefits of clicker training? Well, there are many benefits. One of those benefits is that it helps from the standpoint of being able to make learning more fun. Clicker training really enhances the ability to do fun things with your cat. It aids in building your relationship, and it really does facilitate better care when it's done well. I also think of training as a way to provide an avenue for mental enrichment. It's a great way to allow for more exercise. There's so many benefits that clicker training brings. I am a firm believer in positive reinforcement. People often gravitate to punishment when their animals do something wrong. And there's no question that punishment works, but it can also do a lot of harm in the long run. It can destroy the relationship you have with your cat. So I really advocate for a positive reinforcement-based training program. And of course, I think you've already seen a lot of people talking here at the summit about the myth of the untrainable cat. And the fact of the matter is, it's unfortunate that people believe that cats are aloof, independent, devious, and untrainable. But that just isn't the case. I'd also like to say, just for a moment, if I could, somebody has somebody has your sound is not muted. Oh, I just found a way to mute you myself. Again, I cannot see your questions if you have any, so I'm going to save those until the end. But I will take questions when I'm done. But cats are actually easily trained, but you first have to understand them. You have to give them an environment that is comfortable for them, and that's a really important aspect of being able to train them. Look for reinforcers that they like. Small pieces of the right kind of food, a favorite toy, a scratch behind the neck. There are many things, and you have to remember that every cat's an individual, but they can learn quickly, and they can learn quickly that their behavior can earn them their desired reinforcer, whether that's a treat, a toy, or a fun way to play with them. But before you can really begin training, your cat should be relaxed, attentive, comfortable, interested, and focused on you. If they're not quite ready for training yet. You need to give them more time in their environment. You need to find more things that will help them be comfortable in their space. And you want to get to that point where that cat is looking to you and eager for your interaction. As you interact with the cat, you should find your cat leans into you. They should be looking for that kind of attention. That's how you know that you're ready to progress. So your cat should be relaxed and comfortable. That's the most important aspect. This is an advanced training session that you're seeing in this video right here. But the key thing is, I love the fact that this particular trainer is using a squeeze tube. I find that a fun way to be able to deliver their favorite reinforcer. You can put all sorts of very flavorful treats in those squeeze tubes and just measure out a little bit at a time, a little lick stick that can be very, very helpful in getting your cat comfortable and making training fun for them. I'm not going to get into some of this more advanced training, which is some tooth work and mouth work. I'm not going to talk about that today, but I did want you to see the lick stick there because those squeeze tubes are really, really beneficial. So how do you get started? At the very beginning, a big part of it is just pair the click with their favorite food, toy, or type of tactile. You make the clicking sound and follow it immediately with a treat, a toy, or a tickle. Make sure it's something that they really like, something that they really want. That's one of the most key aspects to being successful. And if your cat is curious and interested in you, I often like to present my finger. If the cat will often smell it or touch it or come close to it. And when they do, that's when I click and I treat. You would be surprised how quickly the cat learns, oh, he gives me that finger, I come and touch it, I get a treat. They'll start touching your finger very, very quickly. You can transfer from a finger to a stick, a buoy, a spoon, any number of things can be used as a target. And it's really just a helpful aid that can be a way of teaching many things. Let me just show you a video of this so that you can see it in action. So as you can see in that video, she was just simply showing her finger, the cat would touch it, she would click, and then she would give a treat.
Hey Ken, I just want to come on really quick. There's I think it might be the chat box is like over your slides a little bit on the upper left.
You know why? That's actually not my chat bots. It's my way of letting people into the room because you made me the host.
No, I think it's okay now because your slides are up and I'm the host. So I think you should be good to go now. So you can move that over. Perfect. And there's a little bit on the bottom too. I don't know if that's like a little box on the bottom.
Yeah, that's part of but it'll disappear after I start clicking through my slides again, I hope.
Continue on. Thank you.
All right, great. So I was just showing you that little image of targeting just then. And the simple act of touching a target, whether it's your finger or a buoy or a stick or a spoon or anything else, can become the start, that's supposed to say start, to training a variety of different behaviors. What I like to do is make that targeting game fun. Do it often. Do it in ways that the animal enjoys. Make it into a game. Training is really about having fun. It's about helping your cat recognize that they're enjoying themselves, have them follow the target everywhere, onto things like a mat or a bed or a cat tree or your sofa. Train them to follow the target over things like a stool or a hurdle, or into things like a kennel, a tube, or a backpack. And the key here is have fun. The whole point of training is making it fun and making it highly reinforcing. Playing the game is a great way to get their favorite treat, to get access to their favorite toy, to get access to you and being able to play with you. You have to find the thing that your cat finds reinforcing. And that comes from playing and from interacting and trying your best to interact with them on a regular basis, finding the right toys that they like, and most of all, their favorite treats. Let me show you another example of using a target in some creative ways. Here you can see the trainer has transferred from the finger to the stick. And he's going to try to get this cat to go over a little hurdle. And at first, the cat isn't sure that it wants to jump over the hurdle. You see, he hesitates. He wants to get the target, but it's too far away. So the trainer makes it easier. And then every time the cat does what he's looking for, you hear the click. Click, and then a treat follows right away. And eventually the cat becomes more and more comfortable jumping over the hurdle. Here's another example of a creative trainer just doing fun things with the cat. She was using the stick. Here she's using her finger to get the cat to spin in a circle. And then she's just using small treats that the cat can easily eat. And here she also taught another type of target. Instead of following something with the cat's nose, she taught the cat to paw at her hand with its paw. And oftentimes what will happen is all you have to do is put your target a little bit out of the cat's reach, and they often will paw at it the first time. And if that's something that you want, you click and treat for that. And then you have that behavior as well. And I'll talk about putting a behavior on cue in just a second. At first, it's just about making it fun, making it be something that your cat wants to do, so they follow you and show you these different things. Because we are talking about traveling with your cat a lot at this summit, a lot of people want to find a way to train their cat to go into a backpack or go into a carrier. And before starting formal training, one of the things I often suggest is simply expose your cat to the carrier, to the backpack, to the kennel, and see if it interests them. Let them explore it on their own. As you can see these cats here, this is just a small travel kennel. And one of the things we did is we would put their favorite toys in it. We'd hide treats in it sometimes. And before you knew it, our cats were very interested in exploring it and learning what was in it. That's just a way of getting your cats more comfortable with that. And here's a cat that's not very trusting of people in a shelter. And yet, by simply introducing the cat to the idea of targeting, the shelter workers were able to teach the cat to go into their kennel. It's a big kennel, but I just want you to see the value of targeting. See, this is a cat that isn't quite tame yet, isn't quite sure that it's comfortable with everything because it's in a shelter. It's not familiar with that environment, but yet the target was very, very beneficial in guiding the cat into that particular location. So a couple of my key things when trying to get your cat comfortable in a kennel or a backpack. If you really want to do that, and I know a lot of people here, that's one of the things that really interests them, they should be comfortable in the device. They should be exposed to it on a regular basis. They should enjoy their experience. And one of the ways of helping them to enjoy that experience is make sure that they are reinforced regularly for being there. That they get fun experiences when they go there, that they're always being reinforced with something. And one of the things I encourage people to be aware of is the first time you start introducing your cat to your backpack or your kennel, never trap them inside. At the early stages, you want to let them see that they can leave if they want, that it's a place for them to go that's comfortable. And if they push on the door, if they poke their head out the opening, it's open and they can leave. That way, they begin to trust the device. And it's one of the ways that they begin to trust you. Move to closing the door or zipping the door shut or the flap closed gradually. And when the first time you close it, open it right up again so that the animal knows that they're not trapped. Once they trust you, they're going to be more and more comfortable letting you zip that zipper closed or lock the kennel door. But at the beginning, move gradually and close it only briefly. And then extend the length of time that they're in the device in really small steps. Don't jump from 1 second to a 30-minute travel time. Go to 5 seconds, 15 seconds, 30 seconds. Get them comfortable with you picking up the device, putting the backpack on, going just a short couple of steps in the room that you're in, and then letting them back out again. You will find that when you make it a fun experience, the cats will seek out the device. They will want to sleep in it. They will want to spend time in it. And then you're making progress. You just have to be patient and extend the length of time that you do these things in really small steps. Once they're reliably going into the kennel and going into the backpack. Then what you can do is you can put it on cue. One of the mistakes many people make is they try to put something on cue too quickly. Don't start using your cue until the animals learned the behavior. Once they're following your target or going into the kennel on their own, when you open the door to the kennel, if they start to explore it, use the word kennel or backpack or inside or whatever you want the cue to be, and then guide them in and coax them in. And then once they know how to do that well, they will learn what that cue actually is. Let me just show you an example of that.
Kennel.
Oh, cute.
There's a lot of different ways to get behavior, and the targeting game is just one of those ways. In our course that we teach on training your cat, we introduce people to things like targeting or shaping or capturing or luring. There's a lot of different ways to train. This is just one of them. And I want to make sure I have time for questions. So I'm going to wrap it up here. And I want to say that all I wanted to do was show you that it was possible to take the time to build a relationship and train things with your cat. With time, patience, and a lot of love, the possibilities of what you could accomplish with a cat are endless. You can get your cat to walk on a leash. You can get your cat to participate in medical behaviors. You can teach your cat to recall quickly when you call them. There are many, many things that training facilitates, but most of all, it facilitates getting a better relationship with your cat. I think training your cat is easy, but that's because I'm a trainer. And I know that for newcomers to training it, it doesn't seem easy at first, but that's why we offer this fun course, something that can help you build a better relationship with your cat. And if you'd like to check out our online course, as Emily said before, we're offering those of you attending this summit today discount for 10% off on the course. Just put the code in Travel Cat 10. That's TRAVELCAT 10 for that course. I'm going to take questions for the time that's left. I think we have about 5 or 6 minutes left. I appreciate you being here today. Follow me on Instagram. My email address is ken@clickertraining.com. I am going to leave that up for just a couple of seconds, and then I'm going to jump over to the chat window. I'm going to bring the chat window up, and it's going to probably cover my screen a little bit. I'm just let it cover this my picture. You don't need to see my face. Let me see if there are questions here that I can answer. The chat window is so full of things. I don't see questions right away. I see a lot of people saying thank you. Oh, well, I can answer that. Emerson says, do you ever phase out the clicker? Often when you teach something, the clicker is really helpful in teaching the new thing. Once it's learned, you don't necessarily have to use a clicker. I tend to use it a lot, but once an animal's learned it, you don't have to do that. And as far as training multiple cats, one of the things that I do is I often work with animals, 5, 6, 7, 8 animals at a time. And for me, what we do is teach them to do something called stationing. I usually give each one a mat or a cat tree or some platform to sit on. And when all of them are sitting on a platform or on a mat, they then learn to take turns. And just like teaching them to be in a kennel or be in a backpack, you do it approximately. I usually start by just feeding them only when they're on their mat. And then I just keep feeding them. And then after a while, they get used to that you're going to come around to their turn. And with time, you can teach them to be patient. And I work with one cat, do something, teach them something new while the others stay in their place. And then I reinforce them for staying in their place. And pretty soon you have animals that are sitting attentively, watching, and trying to teach them a variety of different things through that. I'm going to quit sharing my screen. I'm hoping everybody's had a chance to copy down my email address. I'm going to stop the share so that I can look at my questions and not have that big blocking you there. Let's see here. I have a question here. Sandy says, "Oh, these questions are coming in so fast. I can't I can't read them because as I start to read them, more questions come in." Here we go. My cat used to do a full high five. Now she's gotten a little lazy and just raises her paw, but touches my hand. How can I help her to do a whole high five? Um, and then make her feel comfortable and feel comfortable with petting. Oh, that's a different question. I'm sorry, it jumped in front of me. The main thing I would say about a good high five, if you used to have it, all that happens is animals learn to take shortcuts. And if they learn that they can get reinforced without doing the full behavior, they will. And all that I do is just I'm very careful about what I click for and what I reinforce for. If I ask for a high five and my cat gives me a half-hearted high five, no big deal, no problem. I just go on to something else, but I don't reinforce that behavior, give them a chance to do something else. And I wait for them to be more enthusiastic. And the first time they're more enthusiastic, I give them a really high value treat. And all of a sudden the cat goes, "Oh, you're serious. This is really, you really want me to do the full high five." And one of the ways you can get that high five back is if you put your hand up and your cat reaches for it, but they do it half-heartedly, I start moving my hand to different positions. And by moving my hat to different positions, my cat starts trying more enthusiastically to reach me, and I turn it into a game. And when they finally get that really good high five, I click and I reinforce. It's just about using a little bit of creativity to see where you want to go and how you want to get there. Let's see, what other questions do we have here? This is actually hard with questions coming in so fast. Uh, how do you train 2 kittens at once? As I said before, I train, I've already answered that one. How can you train a cat not to go on counters or not to scratch the sofa? Well, let me explain that. That's something we really didn't have time today to talk about in this seminar, is about problem solving. Problem solving is a much more complex thing, but one of the things is you've got to find a way to provide a cat an alternative. A cat scratches on the sofa because scratching is a natural behavior for a cat. And that's where getting them a scratching tree, something that they are allowed to scratch, is really important. And teaching the animal something to do instead of. It's hard to teach someone not to do something unless you're going to use some kind of punishment. And I don't like to do that. So what we as positive reinforcement trainers do is we say, if we don't want you to scratch my couch, if I don't want you to be on the counter, where would I rather you be? And I teach the cat behaviors that are alternatives to, rather than being on the counter, what is it they want from the counter? Usually cats get on the counter because they can find food there, because they get attention there, or because they like the elevated nature of the counter. What I have found that if I can put elevated platforms on my wall, if I can find ways of providing treats in other locations, if I find ways of providing my cat attention when they're on other surfaces, it quickly can teach them to avoid the counter, because what they're looking for, they can get somewhere else. And so a big part of problem solving is asking yourself, what is my cat getting from doing this thing that I don't like? And what can I teach them to do that allows them to get that in another way? A place to scratch, a place to be elevated, a place to get attention. A big part of problem solving is getting to know why your cat does what he does. What is it that makes that fun or reinforcing? And how can we find an alternative that I can make just as reinforcing? So that's a big part of that. So that's the way I would answer that question. And I think I'm probably out of time, but let me see if can you get a clicker response to hydrate, especially like a water fountain? I'm not sure what you mean by that. If you mean, can you teach a cat to use a water fountain? Absolutely. And if your cat likes water, they really will enjoy the behavior, and that can actually be a great reinforcer. But it is a very, very helpful thing. I see that I am past time. I would love to answer more questions, but I do know there's another session that's about to start in here. I think we're going to talk about how to help community cats rescue and foster, etc. So I'm going to say goodbye, and I hope you'll follow me on Instagram. Hopefully, if you have any questions, you'll ask. And don't forget to check out our Train Your Cat course at Karen Pryor, clickertraining.com. Thanks so much for inviting me.